All right, so here's US 1 on Scout Key, and this is the entrance to the Camp Sawyer side, the side with electricity. This year is a little different than 2020. In 2020, they only allowed 15 people to stay in tents, but this year, 3 years later, the first time they've had it since COVID began, they're allowing up to 75 people to stay on this side of the Scout camp. So this is the Boy Scout side, Camp Sawyer, and the Girl Scout side is the other side, and I always butcher the name. I think it's Camp Wesumeki or Wemuseki or something along those lines. Anyway, so you're able to park your cars on the Camp Sawyer side. There's a parking lot in the front. You're able to take your cars out to your campsite, which is different this time. In 2020, we had to use wheelbarrows from a certain location and ferry our stuff to our campsite. But now we can actually drive out to our campsite. This building on the left in the yellow is the restrooms and the shower rooms. There are about a half dozen restrooms and a half dozen shower rooms separate from the restrooms. So it's a pretty sizable building, 2 sets of stairs going up both ways, and the blue building is the camp administrators' quarters. That's separate from the astronomy event going on, but they still oversee the site. This is the greater site on Camp Sawyer side. What's new this time are these glamp tents, which hold up to 4 people. There's either a configuration with 4 bunk beds, 1 bunk bed per person, or apparently there's some configurations I were told that have 1 queen size bed and 2 bunk beds. So that's interesting. Let's go walk over here, take a look at them a little closer. Now, when you enroll in staying in a glamp tent, you're also entitled to the real estate in front of the glamp tent, which is kind of nice because you're guaranteed to have, views of the beach and directly south, there is a ton of value in that, because that's really why you come to this particular location, or one of the many reasons why you come to this particular location, is to image the southern skies from 25 degrees north latitude. And you can see these are pretty sizable clamp tents. There's like a common area, and then there's side rooms where the bunk beds are and whatnot. This is almost pretty much where I stayed last year. Lots of mangroves for shade to hang out in the daytime, and there's a picnic area in the center with some barbecues that I believe you have access to, but I haven't seen anyone cook on them yet. As you can see, some people are still setting up their gear. Today, Monday, February 13th, is the first official day of the Winter Star Party, and it goes on through Sunday, the 19th. I'm unfortunately leaving on Friday. As you can see, the water's gorgeous. There's pelicans and storks and cranes and all kinds of birds all over the place here. It's really spectacular. A few years ago, when I swam off this dock, I was swimming with baby sharks, unbeknownst to me at the time, but I'm sure I'll wind up going back in again. The water's just delicious. And you can see all the various glam tents. They have little front porches, and they're shaded. They've got some picnic tables, so it really is a good deal. If you're coming down here, you don't want to have to bring shelter, tent, canopy, all that stuff, chairs. They have Adirondack chairs here. You can set up your gear right on the beach. This really is a fantastic location. This is literally where I was last year, this exact spot, or last time in 2020. This exact spot. It's absolutely fantastic. And there's power poles all over the place. Each glam tent has their own power pole, and people are piggybacking off of the power poles where people are tent camping, which is separate from the glam tents. As you'll see over here, this is where all the tents start filling in, and you can see there's like a tent side and a glamp tent side, and you'll see electrical being snaked by the facility all the way throughout, so everyone on the Camp Sawyer side has power. all different kinds of tents and canopies, although the canopies are really tough to keep up because the ground here is coral. So there's no grip like soil and dirt. It's dry, it's gritty, and it's very hard to anchor things in very well. You can see you've got your assortment of gear as usual: Dobbs, imaging, equatorial mounts, so on and so forth. One of the things that's new this year that wasn't here a few years ago is this abandoned boat that apparently came from Cuba, and it's called Dios de Amor, the love of the gods, which I'll show in a little bit. You can see more gear. This is Casa spaced out pics, and got my tent, my 3 rigs, and a tripod for some time-lapse work on my DSLR. And there you can see the rig, the Dios de Amor over there, which apparently came in from Cuba sometime over the last few years. You can see the beach. You can still walk along the beach, and the tide here, even high tide, is only about a foot higher than low tide, so the water really doesn't move too much from its current location. Even though you see moss and seaweed a lot closer, it's probably from storms or whatnot, which got kicked up, but the water level pretty much stays where it is and doesn't really move much. So this is home until Friday, and you can see it's pretty nice layout. A lot more space than during the star parties at Cherry Springs. Obviously different skies than Cherry Springs, and different temperatures for sure than Cherry Springs. So this is the Camp Sawyer side video, Winter Star Party 2023.